I'm Dr. Jim Taylor, and welcome to Prime Sport Alert. This segment of Prime Sport Alert focuses on the making of a champion. I was asked recently by a sport parent, what does it take to make a champion? I thought for a moment, and then responded with 3 words: genes, motivation, and support. So let's explore these 3 essential components to athletic success. Genes are the foundation of all athletic success. Athletes can have all the motivation and support in the world, but if they're not physically capable of performing at a very high level in their sport, nothing else is going to matter. Though physical capabilities such as strength, agility, stamina, and flexibility can be developed to some degree through conditioning, we are all limited by the genes that we get from our parents. Genes are also the X factor for 2 reasons. First, there's no way to tell whether young athletes have good genes until they grow up and demonstrate some athletic ability. Sure, you can look at their parents and see what kind of athletes they were and what kind of body types they have. But if you look at the parents of a lot of professional athletes and Olympians, you'll wonder whether genes have anything to do with being a great athlete. And early success that many see as indicators of good genes often doesn't prove anything. How do you account for all those late bloomers? Second, good athletic genes aren't enough. I've seen many athletes over the years who had tremendous natural physical ability, yet lacked the motivation to become successful. These athletes invariably never lived up to their expectations, and many I've spoken to regretted not having had the work ethic to match their physical capabilities. Conversely, if you have a kid who's incredibly motivated and well supported, but doesn't have world-class genes, they may not win Wimbledon or play in the Super Bowl, but that doesn't mean they can't still have a very successful and rewarding experience as an athlete. Not only that, but it's likely that these less naturally gifted athletes will learn those important life lessons that will help them become successful later in their life. Ultimately, as I see it, you can't control genes, so there's little point in even talking about them. Motivation is the only contributor to athletic achievement that is thoroughly within the control of athletes. They can't control their genes, but they can do everything in their power to fully realize whatever genetic capabilities their parents gave them. And research has shown that the single greatest predictor of success is not inborn ability, it's the amount of time athletes put in. Those who are the most motivated will devote the most time to training, which will lead to their greatest success. Of course, those with the best genes and who are also highly motivated will most likely have the greatest level of success. So the $64,000 question for parents is, how do I motivate my athlete child? Motivation is probably the most difficult psychological contributor to success to develop, because you can't give kids motivation. Rather, they have to find it within themselves, which means finding a reason that they want to play and train and work hard in their sport. If your children aren't motivated, you want to find out whether something or someone, often a parent, is squashing their motivation. They may be playing the sport for a reason other than becoming a superstar. Or maybe that sport just isn't for them and they should find something else to do. Nonetheless, let me offer a few suggestions that can bolster motivation. The easiest way to answer that question is for athletes to have a great passion for their sport. Athletes who love to train and compete will do whatever it takes because they just love being out there. Also, setting, working toward, and achieving goals are immensely satisfying, so you can help them to set realistic yet challenging goals toward which they can strive. Having your kids in a junior sports program with an inspiring coach and other motivated athletes can create an environment that further fosters motivation. You also need to make sure that it's fun. Given that the odds that your children that you will ever become great athletes are incredibly long, there's no other reason for them to be doing it. Finally, get out of the way. An absolute motivation killer is for you to become overly invested in your children's sport and take ownership away from them. If you care more about their sport than they do, I guarantee that they will not be successful and they won't enjoy their sport. The other $64,000 question is, how do I support my athletic children? The answer starts with everyone involved understanding what their jobs are. It's the athlete's job to work hard, pay attention to their coaches, take full advantage of every opportunity that they're given. It's the coach's job to prepare athletes physically, technically, and mentally to achieve their goals and to create a supportive and fun environment. And it's your job to provide the opportunities for your children. For example, coaching, camps, and equipment, to pay the bills, which admittedly is incredibly difficult, especially these days, to get them where they need to be on time, to pat them on the back when they do well, to console them when they do poorly, and importantly, to support the coaches so they can do their job. If everyone does their job and their job alone, then young athletes have a good time and usually perform up to the best of their ability. If someone doesn't do their job or tries to do another job, then things quickly go south. Let me conclude with some thoughts about your goals and having your children participate in sports. If your objective is to turn them into champions, the odds are that you're wasting your money and time and your children's happiness. Sports are metaphorically littered with the scarred psyches of children whose parents tried and failed to do what Earl Woods and Richard Williams succeeded at doing. Your goals as parents are for your children to have fun, learn life skills to succeed later in life, value health and fitness, and develop a love of sports. If by some freak chance you've given them world-class athletic genes, they love the sport enough to work incredibly hard at it, and they get the right kind of support from you, and they become professional and Olympic athletes, then that's just icing on the cake. I'm Dr. Jim Taylor for Prime Sport Alert.